We've got another exciting update about Skirk's role in the game, and finally, some long-awaited details about Columbina's release. In this video, I'll break down all the new information from a source that doesn't exactly have a well-established track record. But before you dismiss it, this source was the one to share Skirk's info way before HoYoverse officially announced her as a playable character in Natlan. Plus, their updates have been reposted by some reliable names, which gives it a bit more weight. So, let's dive into everything we've learned recently and see what might be coming our way. It's important to note that while the next information comes from Team Mew, a source that many players consider reliable, it was also reposted from HXG's Sus Info Repost channel. This means that while the updates align with some credible leaks and past patterns, there's always the possibility of last-minute changes or inaccuracies. Skirk's upcoming release is one of the most exciting developments, and it's easy to see why. She's said to be a 5-star cryo main DPS, which honestly isn't surprising. If you've been following her story, you know she's one of the most powerful characters we've encountered in the game's lore. According to the source, HoYoverse plans to position Skirk as the next most anticipated release after Mavuika in the Natlan arc, and honestly, this makes a lot of sense. Every region we've visited so far has had several highly awaited characters driving player excitement, and, of course, revenue. Take Fontaine, for example. It had Furina, Nouvelette, and Arlecchino, all of whom were incredibly hyped and successful banners. Natlan, on the other hand, initially looked just as promising with names like Mavuika, Exbalanque, Columbina, and even Capitano generating hype. But as of now, Mavuika is the only confirmed headliner, leaving a significant gap to fill. And let's face it, HoYoverse needs to keep the hype alive and the Primo Gems flowing. This is where Skirk steps in. By setting her up as the next big banner, HoYoverse ensures that players have something massive to look forward to, and they're likely banking on her popularity to drive banner sales. After all, she's already one of the most intriguing characters lore-wise, and if they play their cards right, Skirk could be a huge success for both the story and the game's bottom line. With her banner coming with Mavuika Rerun, this feels like a deliberate strategy to make players carefully consider their Primogem spending. The timing ensures that Skirk's banner will generate plenty of excitement and revenue. When it comes to the story, Skirk plays a key role in connecting Natlan and Snezhnaya. Even though the next major region is set to debut in version 6X, it's already confirmed that it won't be Snezhnaya. This break from the usual pattern makes Skirk even more important in driving the narrative forward. I'll dive into why Snezhnaya is being delayed in another video, but for now, it's clear that Skirk is going to be a big deal for what's coming next. It's also worth noting that information about Skirk's release in the latter part of Natlan was shared about a month ago, adding a layer of credibility to these updates. Personally, I can't wait to see how Skirk fits into both the meta and the story. Her lore and gameplay potential make her one of the most intriguing characters in Genshin's lineup so far. What do you think? Are you as excited as I am, or are you saving your Primogems for someone else? Let's discuss in the comments. Now, let's talk about Columbina, who is going to be the next playable Fatui Harbinger. While many speculated that she might debut earlier in Natlan, the latest updates suggest otherwise. Columbina is set to be a promoted character alongside Skirk in version 6.x, tying her release directly to the unfolding Nordcry storyline. However, this raises questions about the timeline of her appearance. Here's what the Q&A from one of the sources has revealed. The question was, regarding Columbina not entering a Natlan banner. The response clarified, this needs clarification to avoid misunderstanding. Columbina's playable period has already been scheduled. Her spot as a promoted character is reserved for version 6.x. Whether this is a strategic adjustment isn't something I can confirm. It's clear that Columbina is deeply tied to Snezhnaya. Even though she won't feature in Natlan's banners, she remains an essential part of what lies ahead in the game's progression. What do we know about Columbina? Since the release of Natlan, there's been limited information about Columbina. If you're wondering whether she'll be playable, you're not alone. According to sources like Kataro GG and Snezhfed, most of the concept art for Snezhnaya's characters, bosses, and locations is already complete. This suggests we might start hearing a lot more about the Tsaritsa and the characters from Snezhnaya in the coming months. As for Columbina, she's currently in Snezhnaya, which explains why she isn't part of Natlan's storyline. She's said to be overseeing a location called the Royal Vivarium, a mix between a zoo and a botanical garden. While it sounds peaceful, we'll have to wait and see how this setting plays into her role in the story. Regarding Columbina's role, it seems she's an incredibly powerful necromancer. This isn't surprising considering her rank as the third among the Fatui Harbingers. Though details about her kit aren't confirmed yet, speculation suggests she'll be a 5-star DPS character, wielding either a catalyst or a machete. Interestingly, there's a trend among the playable Fatui Harbingers so far. They've all been designed as main DPS characters. From Tartaglia to Arlecchino, the Harbingers consistently take on heavy-hitting front-and-center roles in teams. This pattern raises exciting possibilities for Columbina. As the third-ranked Harbinger and an exceptionally powerful necromancer, it's hard to imagine her being anything other than a main DPS character. If her gameplay aligns with her lore, she could deliver some of the most unique abilities we've seen. And if Capitano ever becomes playable, he'll likely follow suit as a main DPS, given his commanding presence and lore within the Fatui. Columbina's personality is also intriguing. Insiders have shared some notes given to voice actors to help portray her character. At first glance, Columbina appears weak and somewhat silly. She's polite, calm, and avoids unpleasant people while seeking to please those she admires. Even in battle, she remains neutral, showing neither aggression nor interest. For her, killing is merely routine, often causing unnecessary destruction because she cannot control her strength. Let's shift focus to Capitano for a moment. It's now confirmed that Capitano won't be playable in Natlan, and honestly, I'm starting to worry he might not become playable at all. Why this concern? Without revealing too much, it ties to major story developments in the Archon quest of version 5.3. Capitano's narrative appears to be heading in a direction that raises serious doubts about his future as a playable character. It's one of those situations where lore and gameplay might not align as fans had hoped. However, there's still a glimmer of hope for Capitano fans. Some leaks suggest he might eventually remove his mask and become a playable character. Most of the recent details about Skirk and Columbina have been sourced from this Chinese nickname, a name that hasn't been widely recognized in the Genshin community until now. However, this source has gained attention for sharing information about Skirk even before her confirmation in official announcements. This adds some credibility to their updates, suggesting they might have access to early development insights. So, there you have it. Updates on Skirk and Columbina that provide a clearer picture of what's coming in Genshin Impact's future. Skirk's role as a cryo DPS and Columbina's strategic placement in the Nordcry storyline point to some truly exciting developments. What do you think about these updates? Are you saving for Skirk? Or are you more intrigued by Columbina's mysterious role? Let's discuss in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you want to save up to 20% on Genesis crystals, visit lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.